What's going on, everybody? It's week number 3. My name's Coach Josh, JK, whatever you want to call me, Uncle Josh, head coach of the Fargo Flygons here in week number 3 of the Pokemon PDL, Pokemon Draft League. We've got an awesome one for you this week. We admittedly are a little low on the totem pole, and we're looking for our first win. We've had a really close game in week 1, kind of got blown out in week 2. We're looking to bounce back in week 3, get our first win on the board, and start this redemption story as we chug towards the playoffs. So let's get right into the game. Our team this week is Slowbro, as always, the dude, our captain, Bindi the Crocodile, Life Orb, Moxie, ready to come in and sweep, Rotom Heat, Hotbox, our reliable switch in, but also he's running Nasty Plot for some cheeky little setup stuff. Gallade, our assault vested answer to a lot of his especially offensive threats. Tornadus, our pivot, our tried true U-turn, Hurricane, Heat Wave, Defog, utility switch, and then the free agent we picked up this week, Alolan Sandslash. A little bit about that move, because we're not doing team builders anymore and it didn't really explain kind of why we picked it up. Alolan Sandslash is insane. The ability to have something that not only is reliable at getting rocks up, but also can rapid spin them away, and then have things like Iron Head and Knockoff, priority ice moves if we need it, and Ice Shard, things like that. Also just like Slush Rush, which could be a cool ability to, have in our back pocket if we ever face these weather teams that are kind of all over the place. So that's our team this week. We're going in against a Melmetal, which is terrifying. Alolan Ninetales, Tyranitar, Skuntank, Swampert, and Clefairy, which all are scary threats. Sarah and Val are kind of taking the spot of Sam in the in that team position. They bought the franchise, rebranded it. They're the Coochy Poochienas, which is kind of funny, and now they're our week 3 opponent. So a little bit newer to battling, but also like, hey, there's no free wins, and this is a scary team. That Melmetal wrecked shop last week, so and they beat Garrett, who was our week 1 opponent, and they beat Garrett. So we got to be careful, we got to be smart, and I think we've got a pretty good shot of coming out of this game ahead of where we need to be. So let's jump in. The lead for this week, we had kind of not a set lead, but based on kind of what I know their roster looks like and what we have, Sandslash makes the most sense. We're going to get rocks up. We're going to do that. They start off with Tyranitar. So Sarah's thinking, okay, I've got this big, bulky, giant, monster of a Pokemon in Tyranitar. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. I'm thinking, it could be banded. It could be bulky. It could be a rock setter. It could be a number of things. It could be special or physically offensive. So I'm thinking, this is a little scary, but we're gonna start by just getting our rocks up most likely. So I'm really thinking a lot of the turns in this game were slow, a lot of calcs back and forth, checking a lot of different things. I just want to make sure that we're playing as safe and as smart as we can. So we're gonna trade rocks here, which is great. It lets me know that it's a little bit more of a utility set than just like a suicide offense lead or something, crazy like that. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, I am physically defensive. I can probably take a hit here. Maybe I stay in and be able to, knock off an item or rapid spin away rocks. And I do just go for the knockoff, which we knock off leftovers, which is great because that tells me it's kind of like a bulky offensive set, especially with going back and looking at that Earthquake. We were able to find out that he was at least 252 attack I don't know if it was Adamant or Jolly, but we do know that it had a lot of investment in attack based on the damage that it did to Sandslash and kind of where those calcs lined up. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, I could take another hit in Rapid Spin. I could Iron Head to get off some big damage, or, you know, I can make a switch. I've got a lot of things that actually can switch into this Tyranitar based on what it has. And Slowbro, for sure, is something that I really want to get in here and start doing some work with. So, you know, thinking about what my switches are, we're doing some calcs, and, you know, I just, again, really wanted to play this week safe. We know what our win conditions are. Moxie Sweep, Crocodile, Setup, Rotom Heat. We come in with Slowbro to take this Earthquake, we eat it up, amazing. And now we can either, you know, fire off a Scald, try and get a burn on a Tyranitar. We could Protect to see if he's got a Dark type move. I thought maybe he would have Crunch, so I wanted to see, or maybe even like a Thunder Punch, which would also be pretty scary for the Slowbro. So I want to go for Protect. It's a safe move. I want to see, you know, what I can take. He actually just switches out to Clefairy though. So Sarah's switching things around, letting Hail and Sandstorm and Rocks do work to chip away at my defensive walls. But I'm thinking, okay, Clefairy probably can't touch my Sandslash like at all. And I know my Iron Heads are going to do a ton of damage just based on where the calcs were and kind of the damage spread that we knew we could get in. We kind of built the Sandslash to be able to take out the Clefairy and the Ninetales. So, you know, Sarah's got some really good utility switching Pokemon. Clefairy is one of them. But I know it's a really safe switch in. I get my leftovers knocked off, which kind of sucks. But I know that this thing now, especially that it's knocked off my item, is not going to be doing a ton of damage to me. So I kind of get a free Rapid Spin here. So we're gonna go in and try and knock off, or excuse me, we're gonna get my rocks off my side, which is great. Give some longevity to some of my other Pokemon. I do have the Defog on Tornadus in the back if I have to, but I would love for Sandslash to stick around because it does do a lot to his team, and actually is just like a counter to Clefairy and to the Ninetales, almost like straight up. So. Sandstorm's down, which is great. Clefairy's going to go for Protect. Blocks my Rapid Spin. Sure, she's scouting what I want to do. So now I'm thinking, okay, it's probably got an Eviolite. I can knock that off at any time. I'm not really worried about knocking things off, but I want to get my Rapid Spin off. So we switches out into Swampert. We get the Rapid Spin off. We get the Speed Boost. I'm going to throw away my gum. And now we've got Swampert against Sandslash, which is not a great matchup for me. The Swampert, if it's running like Earthquake or Superpower or something like that, is gonna destroy me. Even like a Liquidation or a Waterfall does quite a bit of damage to me, and I need to make sure that I preserve Bumble as much as I can. So I'm calculating things in the background, trying to think of like where, you know, what are my best switch-ins. You know, obviously Rotom Heat can't switch in. Bindi, the Crocodile, I don't want to switch that in. But Slowbro should be a really safe switch here. I also thought about bringing in our Gallade in case he was like has Scald or some type of special move. But I think here we should switch out into the Slowbro here. Which I do after making some calcs, so we know that I'm not going to take any damage. Flip turn is great. They get initiative back, so Sarah's got priority here, but that didn't do anything. So they're bringing in Skunk Tank, which I'm scared of, like a Dark Pulse or you know, a Toxic or something to really cripple Slowbro. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to switch in here? You know, like Gallade doesn't take hardly any damage, even from like a really your stab Dark Pulse or something like that. So I'm thinking that's a pretty safe switch in. Jetstream could also come in. I am a little specially bulky, but like our Gallade is a monster on the specialty side, especially with the Assault Vest. So I know I can't stay in, but I'm trying to really pick and choose my pivots smart, so that we don't fall behind into a hole. Skunk Tank Defogs, which gives us a little bit of info. That's pretty common for it to run, a defog potentially for his team. So getting the hazards removed, not a big deal. We're just going to go for a really, really safe Earthquake. It hits his entire team really hard. I don't have a lot of attack investment in the Glade, but it's got enough natural attack to where the 4 EVs that we put into it, I'm gonna hit things for a good chunk and be able to take hits, more importantly. So I'm really not afraid of the Skunk Tank. We could probably 2 or maybe 3 shot it at worst. And so we're just gonna fire off the Earthquake and see what happens. And I'm really not worried about anything switching into it, because it's gonna be good damage regardless. So you'll see a theme of this this game, and it's 67 turns, so it's a long one. But you'll see a theme with this is both sides really playing conservatively in the beginning, and really making their switches and preserving threats and defensive switch-ins as much as possible. The Clefairy is a little bit of annoying because it does take some of these attacks fairly okay. The crit Earthquake did 36%. Poison Jab does about 35 normally. We do score the poison, which is great, but it's got the magic guard, so it doesn't really matter. So he uses Wish, and I'm thinking, okay, well, it's probably going to switch out, and I can't go for Poison Jab again because the Melmetal could come in for free then. So I go for Earthquake in case he switches, but Sarah just protects to heal up her Clefairy again, which is a great move. That's fine. This Clefairy wished a lot. It hung around for a very, very long time. In fairness, I could have maybe got Sand Slash in to knock off the item and help with that earlier, but I also thought that it's not really a threat offensively for me to worry about. It's just going to Wish Pass and protect and do things like that. But I have walls that will take it down and chip it down, whittle it down little by little, because it can't really hurt a lot of my offensive threats. So Clefairy's just doing its thing. I'm going for the Earthquake again because I think it's going to switch. And if it doesn't, whatever, we get some Earthquake damage off. So Gallade was a really cool bring this week, being specially bulky, but also, being an offensive threat for my team, which is kind of cool. A lot of my other threats are setup sweepers or things that require a little bit more than just clicking a button and then something going and working. Crocodile kind of has that, but it's got a built-in sweeper with a moxie boost and things like that. So I'm just really trying to play safe, making reads, but not really making reads, because I don't need to go for really outlandish plays, because the safe play is still going to be a good one, especially in these kind of early turns here. Tight Earthquake, Clefairy sets up another Wish, and I'm like, okay, well, fine. I'll go for Poison Jab then, or maybe just stick with the Earthquake. I go for Poison Jab. The Swampert comes in. It's resisted, but we score another poison, which is a little unfortunate. Hacks, I don't want to win with hacks, and really the poisons didn't really matter all that much. But now the Swampert's in, and it's going to take a Poison Jab, no problem. Drain Punch and Stone Edge are they're coverage moves that I have in there just in case. Earthquake is the better move here, but also I'm thinking to myself, the Gallade is my special swap. It's my special wall for this week. Why do I need to even tempt fate with this when I can just switch into Slowbro and have a really safe switch in? The Liquidation hits me for 17%, which is a little laughable. And now this is a winning play for me. I don't have the ability to toxic it, and he's got the Melmetal switch in and a skunk tank. So like toxic is not a great move for me to go to. Scald is super free, which I go for. He brings the Ninetales in, or she brings Ninetales in, and now I'm like, okay, well, this thing's probably gonna have freeze dry if she switched it in on the Slowbro, and the calc for freeze dry did more than I wanted it to. But again, you know, thinking about our defensive switches, I have something that kind of walls the Ninetales, either in Gallade or Alolan Sandslash. Both do really, really well against the Ninetales, so I've got options to switch in, and I know that the Ninetales is probably just going to set up Aurora Veil here. The Hail is a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And actually, like, Sandslash becomes incredible in the Hail. We get the Slush Rush, so my speed is doubled, which will matter later in the game. But for right now, it's, you know, it was more of a defensive pivot in. Ironhead's going to do a lot to everything except the Melmetal, and actually would do a significant chunk to the Ninetales right here, but I just want to get my Stealth Rocks back up. I think the chip damage on the pivots is really great for my team, kind of whittling things down so that Crocodile eventually can come in and sweep. But also, like, knockoff on anything on his team is great. So I kind of go back and forth between, you know, getting rocks up again, using knockoff, and I do go for knockoff, and that was an awesome decision on my part to actually stick with the knockoff, because we knock off the choice band on the Melmetal, which takes the Melmetal from something that probably sweeps my team to a scary threat that, you know, we have to really play around still, but we've got a little bit more of an answer to it now. I for sure can't stand one Earthquake destroys Sandslash, and I want to keep Sandslash around for the Ninetales and the Clefairy and kind of even the Tyranitar a little bit. Not so much that, because like one Earthquake is going to kill me most likely, but like the Clefairy and the Ninetales, Sandslash does a pretty good job of walling. So we're going to switch out into Slowbro. We take the Earthquake really, really well. Hail is going to chip away and negate with leftovers and things like that. So I'm like, okay, well, let's try and get a burn on this thing. We go for Scald. The Aurora Veil's up, so this is not going to do hardly anything, but every little bit is damage. And he's got Thunder Punch. The Melmetal is terrifying for my team. So I want to make sure and see what she's going to go for. She goes for the Thunder Punch again. I get a little bit more recovery. And the calc here is 40 to 47% on Thunder Punch right now. So I'm most of the time dead. But we go for the really good read, and we read the Thunder Punch, which is awesome. The thing is, though, with the Aurora Veil up, Crocodile cannot kill the Melmetal. And I will die to anything he uses here. So I as much as I love having Crocodile in on this thing, and that was a win point for me in kind of our practice rounds and things like that, where we wanted to get this matchup because the Crocodile will outspeed a Melmetal, and I can use, you know, Earthquake and kill this thing. The Aurora Veil for 2 more turns makes it so that I actually cannot kill the Melmetal. So I need to switch and preserve my sweeper for later. And we just, you know, we got some Regenerator on Slowbro, and we go in now, and she doubles out into Clefairy. So I don't know what the thought process was there. Maybe, you know, she wanted to switch out and be able to get a Wish up. But I just go into Sandslash because we know that this is kind of a stalemate with the Wish Protect and things like that with the Sandslash against the Clefairy. So we're 25 turns in. The game is almost half over. Still no kills on either side, but it's been, you know, a defensive back and forth. It's been a really fun game so far. So I'm just going to go for her rocks again, try and get chip damage as much as I can. She doubles back out into Melmetal, which is great. Gets the wish passed, I get rocks up, and now I need to switch again into Slowbro and hope I don't get crit. The Thunder Punch comes out, I'm at 60, I can take one, but we're going to protect just to get a little bit more leftovers recovery, and then go for Scald to try and get a burn on this thing. That is kind of like my out now and the answer to this Melmetal. Or, you know, if something dies, I can bring Crocodile in and revenge kill it. But we would love to get a burn off. She goes for superpower against the protect. Great. I'm learning a little bit more of her moveset. So Earthquake, Thunder Punch, superpower, and most likely the one double metal hit attack. So we're going to go for Scald, like I said, try and get a burn on this thing, and hamper its ability to really, you know, do work against my team. I can take one more, and then I need to switch, which that gets a little dicey because nothing wants to switch into this thing. We don't get the burn. It's good damage, but I'm at a point now where it's like, okay, do I go into Sand Slash and sack it off, or can I go into Rotom? And I go into Rotom thinking he's going to Thunder Punch me, but he goes for Superpower. And Sarah makes a great read and knocks my Rotom Heat way, way down. I am faster, though, so an Overheat will kill this thing. So she has to decide kind of what she's going to switch in, or kind of how she wants to play it. Because the Melmetal, it still does a ton of work against my team, and it's something that she should probably preserve. And she will switch out here. I'm looking if Discharge will kill. It won't. But Overheat does a good amount to the Swampert. And, you know, it's you know, we're in a pretty good spot. Now we kind of can just go back to kind of how we were before. Slowbro can switch in. I can go to Jackie Chan if I need to. She's going to double again to Clefairy to Wish Pass or set up something there. And now I'm like, okay, well, I can get a free slack off, you know, and I can get the rest of my health so that I can 1v1 the Melmetal again. And now I'm just going to keep firing Scalds and think, okay, well, let's see what the Clefairy has for its fourth move. You know, let's see what it can do. She switches out into Melmetal, takes the Scald, gets the Wish, and there's no burn. So now we're back to kind of square one with the Melmetal. Superpower doesn't do a lot. I think she probably thought I was going to switch out. But we get the Scald burn. So we're kind of in the driver's seat now. The burn does a great job in limiting the actual attack power of the Melmetal, but it's still scary. It still does a ton of damage, even with the burn and its Choice Band knocked off. The Clefairy, it's just doing more Clefairy things. You know, it's going to Wish Protect, get its health back. Slowbro, so close to getting a kill. But we're just going to kind of be in this stalemate of our defensive walls going back and forth. And I'm kind of getting sick of this, and I'm like, okay, let's just switch out into Sand Slash and see if we can't, you know, see how much an Iron Head does. We built the Sand Slash to take on the Clefairy. Let's use it. So we're 40 turns in. This was a very long game. But it was really good. I mean, both teams played really well. Sarah's made some really good reads. She's still got all of her threats. And I have to play very, very careful, even though, you know, we're kind of, I would say we're in the lead here because the Melmetal's burned, but for all I know, you know, there are other scary answers in the back that are going to be tough to deal with. So the Clefairy goes for a Wish here, and I'm looking at the damage and kind of what are my options. I know it's just going to protect. We go for Iron Head anyway. Protect blocks, get the Wish Pass. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, if you want to keep playing this game, we'll just go for a crit. I also think that, you know, switching into Rotom Heat and setting up could be a really fun option. So I think about it, and I do switch out into Rotom. and she doubles into Melmetal, so this is exactly what I want. Now the thing here, I would love to click Nasty Plot, but I'm going to die to every attack she's got. So I can't go for Pain Split because like it makes no sense. Overheat is a guaranteed kill and will do a ton of work on whatever switches in. Discharge will also hit everything hard except for that Swampert. So I just go for the guaranteed hit. I don't want the Swampert to switch in for free. And we'll take the attack drop. Whatever. We're going to switch Rotom Heat out, but it does get the kill. We take Melmetal down, and we're up 5-6. So Rotom Heat, another kill this week. Love the fact that it's doing work with a couple of different types of sets. I really like the Nasty Plot. It's been fun so far. And now I'm thinking, okay, I potentially get outsped. So I'm going to switch out to my guaranteed switch out, and with Slowbro, we take the flip turn, no problem. And the Swampert's taking damage coming in on the rocks and the poison. So it's got very limited utility left. The Ninetales comes in, takes a good chunk of damage from the Stealth Rocks. And now it's, okay, Freeze Dry again. I need to switch out. But we kind of know this same rotation here. So we're going to go out into Sand Slash to be able to probably wall the Ninetales. And she just goes for Aurora Veil, which is fine. I know that an Iron Head is going to do a lot of damage. I've got my rocks up. There's no reason for me to Rapid Spin. She switches out into Skunk Tank. And yeah. Now, I could have maybe stayed in a little bit more with Sand Slash, but this thing could have Flamethrower still. I don't really know what it's going to do. She defogs, gets the hazards removed, and Jackie Chan takes a little bit of hail damage, which is fine. But we know from before that like this could be a good switch in for the Skunk Tank. I haven't seen a Dark type move yet. She goes for Toxic, which is fine. Earthquake, even with Aurora Veil up, does 34%. So we're in good shape, and we know that Jackie Chan can do some good work here. But the Skunk Tank's got Protect, so it's gonna stall. It's gonna Toxic stall me out. So I'm gonna go for another one. She switches. The Clefairy eats that Earthquake like it was, it's breakfast cereal. And now I need to switch out because Toxic is gonna kill me, and I don't want to lose Gallade for a switch into Skunk Tank later. So we're gonna switch out into Sand Slash again. We see the knockoff again. I've already got my item knocked off, so it doesn't do anything. And now we're gonna do just get our Stealth Rocks back up. It does a lot of work against the Ninetales when it switches back in. It's gonna chip away. That Swampert has very little health left. The Clefairy doesn't care about it, but we're gonna just do what we can to hamper the rest of his team. So we've got Rocks up now, and she switches to Tyranitar, which is scary. Ironhead does a really good chunk, but I can't stay in. It's gonna outspeed me, and I'm gonna die to an Earthquake. So I need to switch out. She's probably gonna go for Stealth Rocks, but it's like a chance that I can't take. Sand Slash is proving to be really, really important in the matchup. It's doing a lot of work, and I want to preserve it. If I can get it in the hail again, get the Slush Rush going. Ironheads are doing a ton of work to his team, or to her team, because the Melmetal's gone. So if I can preserve the Sand Slash, I'm going to try and do it. And I've got a really good switch in because I haven't seen a Dark type move from it yet. And she switched out last time it was Tyranitar against Slowbro. So, I think about going into one of my Earthquake immune Pokemon to see if I can't set up or get off U-turns or get initiative back. But in the end, I just go for the safe switch, bring Slowbro back in. We eat the Earthquake, we get the recovery up. Sandstorm is up, so the Scald's probably not going to do a ton. It does a good amount, though. She gets Rocks back up, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter too much for my team anymore. because we're really in the driver's seat now. We've got a lot of initiative, and I've still got threats in the back that are very close to being able to come in and sweep. So the Tyranitar is most likely going to be death fodder now. It dies to rocks if it comes in, or it'll be very, very close. We fire off the Scald against the Clefairy, and kind of we're back in a spot where we just switch back out. Clefairy goes for Wish, and I'm getting like fed up with Clefairy at this point, so I'm really just gonna try and go for crits or for kills, or want to try and do as much damage as I can to it. The Iron Head almost kills the Skunk Tank, but at this point I've seen 3 attacks on it, and it's been Defog, Toxic, and Protect. So the Skunk Tank can't really touch my Sandslash, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I afraid of here? So I go for Rapid Spin as she defogs, gets the hazards away. I get the speed boost, so I'm up to 250 speed, and I'm just like, okay, rocks are great, but I don't really care at this point. My guess is that the Skunk Tank can't hurt my Sandslash at all, so she's probably got to switch. So I'm just gonna go for knockoff on if something switches in, and maybe we knock off another item. So I've got the speed boost, and I'm really just kind of like ready to end the game here. And we're at turn 60, and it's been, a half an hour game already, and I'm ready for it to be over. But she's played really, really well, and I still have to be careful because Swampert can, not switch in. It takes the knockoff. Swampert might have been scary had she been able to like pass a Wish to it. It still does quite a bit if she finds a way to like break through my Slowbro. But now I've got a +1 speed Sandslash, and nothing wants to really switch in and take an Iron Head. So she's gonna think about this for a little bit. She sends out Ninetales. My guess is to try and get Aurora Veil up, or or maybe try and kill me off because I only got 24% health. But Slush Rush gives me 500 speed, so I for sure outspeed this, and Iron Head would have killed had she had full health, most likely. I actually don't know that. I don't know the calc, but I know it would have done a ton of damage. Tyranitar switches in. My Slush Rush goes away, but I am +1, so I outspeed again. We get another kill with Iron Head, and now it's 6-2, and we know we're pretty much wrapped up here. She brings the Skunk Tank in. Iron Head should kill or be very, very close. She goes for Protect. Not really sure why, but I never did see the 4th move here, so I really am curious about what the Skunk Tank had. Maybe she was trying to like protect me out of Iron Heads, which could be. Iron Head will kill, and the Aftermath kills my Sandslash. So we get a really good showing out of the free agent pickup this week. I'm really happy with how Sandslash performed. And it did really, really well. So, and now we're looking at Clefairy. We bring in the Rotom Heat. As much as I wanted Gallade to come in and get a kill here, or Crocodile, or do something, I'm just kind of sick of it. We're gonna Nasty Plot and just fire off a Discharge and kill it, and that'll be the game here. She went for the Toxic and missed. The other thing too, this only had knockoff, so it could have knocked off my heavy duty boots, but I outspeed, and we get the kill and we get the win. So a really, really good win. We only lost the Sandslash. Rest in peace, Bumble, but great job with the win this week. So the team, nice job, guys. Well done. And props to Sarah for a really, really good game. I'm really proud of how we played this week. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't fast. We didn't get like a big setup with Rotom like we thought we were going to. Or, we didn't get the Moxie sweep with Crocodile, but we got a 5-0, which is great for our differential. And it brings us back into the hunt. I think more than anything, the free agent pick and getting Sandslash on the roster and dropping Bronzong was a huge move for us moving forward, and I'm really glad we have the Sandslash as an option now, as a rocker, a rapid spinner, a hail sweeper potentially. Could do a lot of different things for us. Really loved the Gallade set we brought this week. Slowbro was awesome and a great switch in. Rotom Heat got a couple more kills, so we did a lot of really good things this week, and we're to 1-2. We got the first win in franchise history, which is super great, and we're ready for next week. So we've got like 2 seconds. This video is 35 minutes already, so I'm going to take 2 questions from the audience, and then we're going to wrap things up. Go ahead. The rest of the schedule, what are we most afraid of? That's a really good question. We've got games against Sean, Noah, Dylan, and Harry left. So a lot of unknowns. The game against Dylan, I think we match up pretty well. And he hasn't been playing that great, so I'm really not afraid of him. Harry is a big question mark, so is Sean. I think Sean could be a really scary game. He's got a pretty unique team. And then Noah made a lot of moves in free agency, and he's shopping team members on the trade block. So I think Noah's team is an interesting matchup for us. I think we stack pretty well up against it, but I know he's been playing really well. He tied with DJ this week. Props there. I'm not a fan of playing a game to a tie, but whatever. They chose to play it on the cart. That's their decision. We played a 67 turn game on Showdown and got the W. So I'm really, the back half of our schedule is still scary. We've still got big teams to get out of the way. Nobody's a free win, even though I rag on Dylan. He is getting better every week, and he's not a free win by any means. I think it could be I think it could be our easiest of the 4 remaining games, but I'm not going to hold judgment anymore. I'm going to make fun of him every week, but that's just kind of what we do. Okay, and one other question here. MVP for the week. Oh man, that's such a hard decision. Like I said, MVP, and who are we gonna give the shiny to? Ooh, man, it's a really good question. There's a lot of teammates that deserve the MVP status and to get that shiny, but I guess we'll just have to tune in next week to find out. So thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you do on YouTube. We'll see you next week.